Okay, before you call me psychotic, please just listen to the whole story. Yes, I told my husband my ex should demonstrate how to do it right. Yes, I said it during an argument about our bedroom life. Yes, I knew it would hurt him, but I didn't mean for anything to actually happen. I didn't expect him to leave the house that night. I didn't expect to wake up to dozens of frantic messages. I didn't expect my ex to end up in the hospital the next morning with injuries I still don't fully understand. And I definitely didn't expect to be sitting on the curb outside our apartment building at 8 a.m. with my belongings stuffed into garbage bags, my phone exploding with messages from people calling me every horrible name imaginable. I'm sitting here right now. My eyes are swollen from crying. My hair is a mess. I'm still wearing the pajamas I slept in. One of my suitcases is half open, and my clothes are spilling onto the wet sidewalk because it started raining about 20 minutes ago. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. My husband's final words keep echoing in my head. You wanted him to demonstrate? Now he can't even walk. So before everyone jumps to conclusions and decides I'm a monster, just hear me out. Because what happened isn't as simple as everyone is making it seem. And yes, I said something terrible. I know I said something terrible, but I never, ever wanted anyone to get hurt. I just wanted my husband to actually listen to me for once. Let me back up and give you the full context, because context is everything, and everyone keeps leaving out the parts that make me look less like a villain. My husband, Derek, and I have been married for 4 years. We've been together for 6, and for the first few years, things were good. Not perfect, but good. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our weekend traditions. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue. He was the guy who brought the expensive craft beer and actually knew how to work the grill. We talked for 3 hours that day about everything: travel, music, our families, our dreams. He was smart, funny, stable. Everything my previous relationships hadn't been. Our first date was at an Italian restaurant downtown. He showed up early, brought flowers, held doors, asked thoughtful questions. He was a gentleman in all the ways that mattered. Within 6 months, we were exclusive. Within a year, we'd moved in together. Within 2 years, he proposed on a beach vacation in California, sunrise proposal with a ring he'd saved up for months to buy. Everyone said we were perfect together. You're so lucky, my friends would say. He's such a good guy, my mother would beam. You two are double goals. People would comment on our photos. And for a while, I believed them. I believed I'd found my person, my forever. But somewhere around year 3 of our marriage, something shifted. The passion disappeared. The excitement evaporated. The spark that made us US just died. And I'm not just talking about physical intimacy, though that was definitely part of it. I'm talking about the whole relationship. We became roommates who occasionally kissed out of obligation. We became 2 people who shared a space but not a life. Our conversations became transactional. Did you pay the electric bill? What do you want for dinner? Can you pick up milk on your way home? We stopped going on dates, stopped planning adventures, stopped surprising each other. When I'd get home from work, he'd already be on the couch watching sports. When he'd get home late, I'd already be in bed scrolling through my phone. We existed in the same space but lived separate lives. The physical side of our marriage became scheduled. Literally scheduled. Every other Saturday night, like clockwork, with the same routine every time. Efficient, perfunctory, mechanical. I felt like I was checking a box on a to-do list. I tried talking to him about it, multiple times, over months. I feel like we're disconnected, I'd say during dinner. We're fine, he'd respond, not looking up from his plate. I miss feeling close to you, I'd say while we were watching TV. We're sitting right next to each other, he'd point out, missing the entire point. Can we try to prioritize us more? Maybe go on a real date? Do something spontaneous? I'm tired from work, he'd say, every single time. Maybe next week. Next week never came, and every single time I tried to express that something was wrong, that I was unhappy, that I needed more from our marriage, he'd give me the same responses. You're overthinking things. Marriage isn't supposed to be exciting all the time. We're comfortable. That's a good thing. What do you want me to do? I provide for you. I'm faithful. I'm here. But being here isn't the same as being present. Being faithful isn't the same as being passionate. Providing financially isn't the same as providing emotionally. I started to feel like I was disappearing, like I was slowly fading into the background of my own life, like I was becoming invisible, even to the person who promised to love me forever. I'd put on a new dress, hoping he'd notice. Nothing. I'd try a new hairstyle. Looks fine, he'd say without really looking. I'd cook an elaborate meal. Thanks, babe, while scrolling through his phone. I felt like I could walk around our apartment naked, and he wouldn't even glance up from whatever sports game he was watching. But we weren't fine, and I wasn't overthinking. I was dying inside our marriage, and he was acting like everything was perfectly normal. We had sex less and less, from every other Saturday to once a month, to once every 2 months. And when we did, it felt obligatory, like he was doing me a favor, or like I was doing him one. There was no passion, no desire, no connection, just two people going through motions because that's what married people are supposed to do. I started feeling resentful, then angry, then desperate. I bought lingerie. He didn't notice. I tried initiating at different times, in different ways. He was always too tired, too stressed, too distracted. I suggested we see a counselor. We don't need that, he said. We're not in crisis. But we were in crisis. I was in crisis. I just couldn't make him see it. So, yeah, I started thinking about my ex. Trevor, I know how that sounds. I know exactly how toxic and wrong that is. Trust me, I've heard it from everyone. But when you're feeling invisible in your own marriage, your mind starts wandering to times when you felt seen, when you felt desired, when you felt like someone actually wanted you. Trevor and I dated for 2 years before I met Derek. We were together from age 25 to 27, that perfect time in your 20s when you're young enough to be spontaneous but old enough to think it might actually last. We met at a concert, one of those outdoor summer festivals where everyone's sweaty and drunk and happy. I was there with friends, he was there with his brother, and we ended up in the same group watching the headliner. He offered me a beer from his cooler. I offered him some of our snacks. We talked through 3 entire bands. By the end of the night, we'd exchanged numbers. By the end of the week, we'd had our first date. By the end of the month, we were inseparable. Being with Trevor felt like living in color after years of black and white. He was spontaneous in the best ways. He'd text me at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and say, "Call in sick, I'm taking you on an adventure." We'd end up hiking some trail 2 hours away, or exploring a town I'd never heard of, or lying on a blanket in a field watching meteor showers. He left me notes everywhere, in my car, in my purse, tucked into books I was reading. Little pieces of paper that said things like, "You're the best part of my day," or "Can't wait to see you tonight," or just drawings of hearts with our initials. He remembered everything. My favorite flower, peonies. My coffee order, oat milk latte with vanilla. The way I liked to be kissed, slowly like we had all the time in the world. He paid attention in ways that made me feel like I was the most important person in his universe. When we were intimate, it was, God, I hate that I'm even thinking about this, but it was electric. It was the kind of connection where you lose track of time, where everything else disappears, where you feel totally seen and wanted and alive. But Trevor was also unreliable, maddeningly, frustratingly unreliable. He'd make plans and cancel them at the last minute because something came up, usually something work-related, sometimes something with his friends. He'd go 3 or 4 days without calling because he was busy or needed space. He'd pick fights about nothing, me talking too long to another guy at a party, me not being adventurous enough, me asking where our relationship was going, and then disappear for a day or two before coming back with apologies and promises to do better. We broke up and got back together 4 times in 3 years. Each breakup left me devastated, crying on my best friend's couch, swearing I was done with him for real this time. Each reunion felt like coming home, like finding a missing piece of myself, like proof that we were meant to be together despite the chaos. The final breakup happened because I caught him texting another girl. I saw the notification on his phone while we were watching a movie at his place. The phone was sitting on the coffee table between us, and a message popped up. "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." From a girl named Ashley, with a heart emoji. My stomach dropped. "Who's Ashley?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual even though my heart was pounding. "A coworker," he said, not even looking away from the TV. "Why is she texting you about last night being amazing?" That got his attention. He grabbed the phone. "It's not what you think." "Then show me the conversation." "It's private. Show me the conversation, Trevor." He refused. We fought for 3 hours. It was 2 a.m. before he finally, grudgingly admitted that he'd been texting with her for a few weeks. Flirty texts, he called them. Nothing physical had happened, at least that's what he claimed, but the emotional intimacy was there. The playful banter, the late-night messages, the kind of attention he used to give exclusively to me. "It doesn't mean anything," he insisted. "You're being paranoid. You're overreacting." "Then why are you hiding it? Why can't I see your phone?" "Because you're going to take it the wrong way." "The wrong way?" She said last night was amazing. What the hell happened last night, Trevor? He finally admitted they'd gotten drinks after work. Just the two of them. And yeah, they'd flirted. And yeah, maybe he'd held her hand for a minute. But nothing happened. He swore nothing happened. But then he said the thing that ended us for good. "Look, I wasn't sure if you were the one, okay? I was keeping my options open." After 2 years together, through 4 breakups and reunions, through all the I love yous and future plans and promises, he still wasn't sure. He was still keeping his options open. I ended it that night. For real. Forever. I was 27 and exhausted, tired of wondering if he'd show up, tired of competing for his attention, tired of feeling like I had to be exciting and spontaneous and perfect every single moment just to keep him interested, tired of being someone's option. My friends threw me a "you finally left him" party with a cake that said "free at last." My therapist, yes, Trevor was the reason I started therapy, said I'd made a healthy, mature choice. Everyone in my life was relieved. Even my mother, who normally stayed out of my relationships, said, "Thank God. That boy was going to break your heart permanently." And for a while, maybe 6 months, I felt good about the decision. Empowered, strong, like I'd chosen myself over chaos, like I'd finally learned my lesson about unavailable men. And then I met Derek at that barbecue. Derek was everything Trevor wasn't. He was reliable, punctual, honest. If he said he'd call, he called. If he made plans, he kept them. He never played games or made me guess where I stood. He was straightforward and consistent and there. After Trevor's chaos, Derek's stability felt like a warm bath after being out in a storm, like coming inside from the cold, like finally being able to breathe without wondering if the floor would drop out from under me. So I dated him, fell in love with him, or at least fell in love with the idea of him, the security, the reliability, the fact that I could finally relax and trust someone. Derek proposed after 18 months. It was sweet. Dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date, a beautiful ring, a speech about building a future together and growing old side by side. I said yes without hesitation because I genuinely believed I'd found the right person this time, the mature choice, the healthy relationship, the man I was supposed to marry. But somewhere around year 2 of our marriage, Derek's stability started to feel less like comfort and more like complacency. His reliability started to feel like predictability. His calm started to feel like indifference. And I started remembering what it felt like to be with someone who made my pulse race. I started going through old photos on my phone. Photos I should have deleted years ago but kept buried in a hidden folder marked Old Trip Pics. Trevor and me at that festival where we met. Trevor and me on a road trip through Oregon. Trevor and me at his apartment, laughing at something I couldn't even remember anymore. In every photo, I looked alive. Not just happy, alive. Like someone who was fully present in her own life instead of sleepwalking through it. I told myself I was just being nostalgic, that I wasn't still hung up on him, that I was just remembering a different version of myself, not actually missing him. But that was a lie. I missed him. Or more accurately, I missed who I was with him. I missed feeling like I was someone worth chasing, worth fighting for, worth that kind of consuming attention. I started checking his social media, not obsessively, just occasionally. Okay, maybe more than occasionally. He'd moved to a different city for work, which is why we'd broken up in the first place. Well, that and the Ashley situation. He posted pictures of hiking trips, dinners with friends, his new apartment with a view of the city. He looked happy, successful, like he'd moved on completely. And I was stuck in a marriage that felt like it was suffocating me. The fight started over something stupid. It always does, doesn't it? Derek was on his phone during dinner. Again, for the 3rd night in a row. Just scrolling through sports news or work emails or whatever, barely acknowledging that I was sitting across from him. "Can you put your phone away?" I asked. He said, not looking up. 5 minutes passed. The phone stayed in his hand. "Derek, seriously." "I heard you," he said, still scrolling. Something inside me snapped. "Do you even want to be married to me?" I asked. That got his attention. He looked up, confused. "What? Where is this coming from?" "You ignore me constantly. We haven't had a real conversation in weeks. We haven't been intimate in over a month. You act like I'm just here, like I'm part of the furniture, like I don't matter." He put his phone down, but his expression was defensive. "I've been busy with work, you know that." "You're always busy with work, but you find time to watch 3 hours of sports every night. You find time to go out with your friends on weekends. You just don't find time for me." "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" My voice was rising now. "When's the last time you initiated anything? When's the last time you looked at me like you actually wanted me? When's the last time you made me feel like I was more than just your roommate?" "I don't know what you want from me," he said, and there was an edge to his voice now. Frustration, like I was being unreasonable. "I want you to try," I said. "I want you to put in effort. I want to feel like you're attracted to me, like you desire me, like you actually give a damn whether I'm here or not." "I do care." "Then show me. Do something. Anything. Stop acting like our marriage is fine when it's clearly falling apart." He stood up from the table. "Maybe it's falling apart because you're never satisfied. Maybe it's falling apart because no matter what I do, it's never enough for you." "That's because you don't do anything," I shouted. "You coast. You just exist. You put in the absolute minimum effort and expect me to be grateful for it." "What do you want me to do?" he asked, his voice cold now. "What would actually make you happy? Because I'm starting to think nothing would." And that's when I said it. The sentence that ruined everything. The sentence I've replayed in my mind 10,000 times, wishing I could take it back. "Maybe Trevor should demonstrate how it's done, since you clearly don't know." The words hung in the air. I watched Derek's face change, not to anger, not to hurt, to something else, something cold and calculating. "What did you just say?" he asked quietly. My heart was pounding. part of me wanted to immediately backtrack, to laugh it off, to say I was just being dramatic. But another part of me, the angry, vindictive part, wanted him to feel as small and inadequate as he'd been making me feel for months. "You heard me," I said. "Maybe if you watch someone who actually knows how to make a woman feel desired, you'd learn something." I saw something shift in his eyes, something dark. "Trevor," he repeated slowly. "Your ex, you want him to demonstrate." "I'm making a point." "No, you're not," Derek interrupted. "You're telling me you've been thinking about your ex. You're telling me you've been comparing me to him. You're telling me I don't measure up." "That's not—" "Is that what you want?" he asked, his voice eerily calm now. "You want him? You want to see if he's better than me?" "Stop twisting my words." "I'm not twisting anything. You said maybe he should demonstrate. So let's see. Let's find out if he's really better." Before I could respond, he grabbed his keys from the counter. "Where are you going?" I asked, a thread of panic entering my voice. "Out," he said simply. "Derek, wait." But he was already out the door. I heard his car start, heard him drive away. I stood there in our kitchen, my heart racing, replaying what had just happened. He'd be back, I told myself. He just needed to cool off. He'd drive around for an hour, maybe grab a drink somewhere, and come back ready to actually talk about our issues. I tried calling him. It went straight to voicemail. I texted, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Come home so we can talk." No response. I waited up for 2 hours, then finally went to bed around midnight, assuming he'd crashed at a friend's place or gotten a hotel room. I fell asleep, thinking tomorrow we'd have a real conversation. Tomorrow we'd actually work through our problems. I had no idea tomorrow would be the day my entire life exploded. I woke up to my phone vibrating non-stop. At first, in that groggy space between sleep and consciousness, I thought it was my alarm. But then I registered the sound, message after message after message coming through. I grabbed my phone and squinted at the screen. 47 unread messages, 12 missed calls. And they were from everyone. My best friend Sarah, my coworker Monica, my sister, my mother, even people I hadn't talked to in years. My stomach dropped. I opened Sarah's messages first. "OMG, are you okay? Call me immediately. Have you heard? Why aren't you answering?" "Heard what?" My hands were shaking as I scrolled to Monica's messages. "Girl, what the hell happened last night? Is it true about Trevor? Call me when you see this. Trevor." My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I opened my sister's message. "Mom is freaking out. She saw something on Facebook. Call her. Actually, call me first. What's going on?" I went to Facebook with trembling fingers. The first post I saw was from Trevor's sister, posted 3 hours ago. Asking for prayers for my brother Trevor. He was attacked last night and is in the hospital with serious injuries. We don't know all the details yet, but please keep him in your thoughts. The post had 347 comments and 892 shares. I felt like I was going to be sick. I scrolled through the comments, my vision blurring. Oh my God, what happened? Who did this? I heard it was someone's husband. Isn't Trevor the guy who dated that girl who just got married? Wait, I think I know who did this. No. No, 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 no. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. I tried calling Derek, straight to voicemail. I tried texting him. "Where are you? What did you do?" No response. I called Sarah back with shaking hands. She answered on the first ring. "Oh my God, finally. Are you okay? Where are you?" "What happened?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Is Trevor really—" "He's in the hospital," Sarah said, and her voice was strange, cautious. "Someone beat him up last night. Bad, really bad. He has a concussion, broken ribs, a fractured leg. He's in surgery right now." "Who—" I couldn't even form the question. "Nobody knows for sure," Sarah said carefully. "But people are saying it was Derek." The room started spinning. "That's not possible," I said. "Derek wouldn't. He's not." "What happened last night?" Sarah asked. "People are saying you two had a fight about Trevor. Is that true?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up completely. "Oh my God," Sarah breathed. "It is true." "What did you say to him?" I hung up. I couldn't do this. I couldn't process this. This had to be a mistake, a horrible misunderstanding. Derek might be hurt and angry, but he wouldn't. He couldn't. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. "Is this Mrs. Peterson?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes?" "This is Harborview Hospital. We have you listed as an emergency contact for Trevor Matthews." We're not together anymore," I stammered. "We haven't been together in years. Why would I be—" "Can you come to the hospital? His family is here, but there are some questions about—" I hung up. I was hyperventilating now, full-blown panic attack. I tried Derek one more time. This time he answered. "Derek," I gasped. "Where are you? What happened? Tell me you didn't—" "I'm at the hospital," he said calmly. Too calmly. "Why? Are you hurt? Did you—" "I'm here making sure he can't demonstrate anything to anyone ever again," Derek said, and his voice was completely devoid of emotion. "What did you do?" I was crying now, sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. "Exactly what you asked for," he said. "You wanted him to show me how it's done, so I went to have a conversation with him about that. It got physical, and now he's learning what happens when you come between a man and his wife." "I didn't mean—" "You said it. You wanted him. You wanted to compare me to him. You wanted him to demonstrate. Well, now he can't demonstrate anything. And you're going to live with knowing you caused this." "Derek, please, don't come to the hospital. His family has security watching for you. And when you get home, your things will be packed." He hung up. I sat there on our bed, staring at the phone, unable to process what was happening. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. But it was. I threw on jeans and a sweatshirt and drove to the hospital anyway, even though Derek told me not to. I had to fix this. I had to explain. I had to make everyone understand that I never wanted this, that it was just words said in anger, that I never actually wanted Trevor to get hurt. The hospital parking lot was crowded. I ran inside, my hair still a mess, my eyes swollen from crying. I found the ICU waiting room. Trevor's family was there, his mother, his sister, his brother-in-law. And Derek, sitting in the corner with his arms crossed, watching me with cold eyes. "What are you doing here?" Trevor's sister demanded the moment she saw me. "I need to see him," I said. "I need to know he's okay." "You need to leave," his mother said, standing up. She was shaking with rage. "This is your fault. You did this to my son." "I didn't—" "You sent your psycho husband after him," his sister shouted. "Don't you dare pretend you're innocent." "I never told Derek to." "But you wanted Trevor, didn't you?" Derek's voice cut through the room. Everyone turned to look at him. He stood up slowly, walked over to me. "You wanted him to demonstrate how to please you. You wanted to compare us. You wanted to make me feel inadequate. So I made sure he can't ever make another man feel that way." "You're insane," I whispered. "No," Derek said calmly. "I'm just done being compared to someone you couldn't let go of." A security guard appeared. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "I just want to see him." "He doesn't want to see you," Trevor's mother said, her voice breaking. "None of us do. You brought violence into his life. You weaponized your marriage problems and my son paid the price. Get out." The security guard took my arm, gently, but firmly. I looked at Derek one last time. "You can't do this. You can't just—" "I already did," he said. "And you're going to spend the rest of your life knowing you caused it." They escorted me out. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, crying so hard I thought I'd throw up. Then I drove home, my hands shaking on the steering wheel, hoping that when I got there, this would all turn out to be some horrible nightmare. It wasn't. I pulled up to our apartment building and saw garbage bags on the sidewalk. My garbage bags, my belongings. I got out of the car slowly, like I was moving through water. My clothes were stuffed into black trash bags. My shoes were scattered across the concrete. My toiletries were in a box that had tipped over, spilling shampoo and makeup across the ground. The door to our apartment was propped open. I walked inside. Derek was there, methodically packing the last of my things. My photo albums, my books, my laptop charger. "Derek, take your things and go," he said without looking at me. "We need to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about." He finally looked up at me, and his eyes were empty. "You wanted someone else. You compared me to him. You made it clear I'm not enough. So go find him." "Oh wait, he's in the hospital with a fractured leg and broken ribs. My bad." "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious. You have 1 hour to get your things out of here, or I'm calling the police and telling them you're trespassing." "This is my apartment too. My name is on the lease." "Check again," he said calmly. "The lease is in my name only. You never officially signed when we moved in. Remember, you said you'd do it later and never did. This is legally my apartment, and I'm telling you to leave." He was right. I had never signed. It was one of those things I kept meaning to do and forgetting about. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked, my voice breaking. "I don't care. Maybe Trevor's place." "Oh wait, he can't walk right now. Maybe you should have thought about consequences before running your mouth." "I hate you," I whispered. "Good," he said, "because I hate what you turned me into." He walked past me, grabbed the last garbage bag and carried it outside. I stood there in his apartment, looking at the space that used to be our home, the couch we'd picked out together, the photos on the wall, the coffee table where we'd eaten countless dinners. All of it was ending because of one sentence I said in anger. Derek came back inside. "Your hour starts now." I started grabbing things, stuffing them into bags. My hands were shaking so badly I kept dropping things. "I'm sorry," I said as I worked. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." "But it did happen," Derek said, "because you couldn't keep his name out of your mouth, because you couldn't let go of someone who didn't choose you, because you needed to make me feel small. So congratulations. You got what you wanted. You got drama. You got intensity. You got consequences." I couldn't stop crying. By the time I finished packing, it was starting to rain. I dragged my bags out to the curb. My car was full, but there was still more. I'd have to come back. But Derek stood in the doorway, arms crossed, making it clear I wasn't welcome to. "Someone will drop off the rest," he said. "Don't come back here." "Derek." He closed the door. I heard the lock click. And then I was alone on the sidewalk with garbage bags full of my life, rain starting to soak through my clothes. The next few hours were a blur. I tried calling friends. Most didn't answer. The ones who did were awkward and uncomfortable. "I don't really want to get in the middle of this," Sarah said carefully. "It's really complicated and I need some space from the situation." My sister was more direct. "What were you thinking? Why would you even say something like that?" My mother was the worst. "I raised you better than this. I don't even know who you are right now." I ended up at a motel, a cheap one that smelled like cigarettes and had stains on the carpet. It was all I could afford on short notice. I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling, trying to process what had happened in less than 24 hours. Yesterday, I was married. I had a home. I had a life. Today, I was alone in a motel with my belongings in garbage bags and my ex-boyfriend in the hospital because of words I'd said without thinking. My phone kept buzzing with notifications. I finally looked. Someone had leaked screenshots of our text conversation from that night, the one where I'd said, maybe Trevor should demonstrate how it's done. The screenshots were everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Someone had even made a meme out of it. The comments were brutal. What did she expect would happen? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. She literally asked for this. Both of them are toxic as hell. That poor ex-boyfriend. Someone had found my Instagram and was commenting on every photo. Husband beater by proxy. My work email had 7 messages asking me to take some personal time until the situation blows over. I was being cancelled in real time for something I never intended to happen. 3 days passed, 3 days of hiding in that motel room, watching my life crumble through a phone screen. Trevor's family posted updates. He was out of surgery. He was stable. He was going to recover, but would need months of physical therapy. They never mentioned Derek by name, but everyone knew, and everyone blamed me. On day 4, I finally got a message from Trevor himself. Just 3 words. Don't contact me. I tried calling. He'd blocked me. I tried texting from a different number. Please let me explain. I never wanted this. I never told him to. His response came from his sister's phone. Leave him alone. He wants nothing to do with you. You caused this. You brought your toxic marriage into his life and he paid the price. If you contact him again, we're filing for a restraining order. I sobbed so hard I thought I'd choke. On day 5, a process server found me at the motel. Divorce papers from Derek. A restraining order prohibiting me from coming within 500 feet of him or our former apartment. And a cease and desist letter from Trevor's lawyer. I was being legally cut out of the lives of both men simultaneously. It's been 2 weeks now. I'm still in the motel, though I managed to move to a slightly less depressing one. I've been fired from my job. Creative differences, they called it, but I know it's because the controversy was affecting their business. My friends have all distanced themselves. My family speaks to me in short, disappointed sentences. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how my entire life imploded because of one sentence said during a fight. People keep asking me, what did you expect would happen? And honestly, I don't know. I expected Derek to be hurt. Maybe I even wanted him to be hurt, to feel as inadequate as he'd been making me feel. But I never expected him to actually go to Trevor. I never expected violence. I never expected anyone to end up in the hospital. I thought he'd storm out, cool off, and we'd have a massive fight where we'd finally address our problems. Instead, he took my words as a literal challenge and destroyed 2 lives, Trevor's and mine. And here's the part that makes me feel craziest. I still don't think I'm entirely to blame. Yes, I said something horrible. Yes, I weaponized my ex against my husband. Yes, I hurt Derek. But he chose to go to Trevor. He chose to get violent. He chose to put someone in the hospital. I said words. Hurtful words, but just words. He committed assault. How is what he did not worse than what I did? But nobody sees it that way. Everyone sees me as the woman who drove her husband to violence. The woman who couldn't let go of her ex. The woman who destroyed her marriage and hospitalized an innocent person with her toxic words. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am the villain here. Or maybe we're both villains. Maybe I'm the villain for saying it, and he's the villain for doing it. Maybe we're both toxic people who should have never been together in the first place. And Trevor was just the unfortunate casualty of our dysfunction. I don't know anymore. All I know is I'm alone in a motel room. My career is over. My marriage is over. My friendships are over. And a man I used to care about is in physical therapy because I couldn't keep his name out of my mouth during a fight. Last night, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I drove past Trevor's apartment. I didn't stop. I didn't get out. I just drove past. There was a car in his driveway I didn't recognize. Through the window, I could see someone helping him move around on crutches. He looked thinner, tired, hurt. And I did that, not directly, but I set the chain of events in motion that put him there. I drove back to the motel and cried for 3 hours. This morning, I woke up to another notification. Derek has a new girlfriend. Or maybe not new. Maybe she was there all along and I was too focused on Trevor to notice. Her name is Jessica. She's a colleague from his office. In the photo he posted, she's smiling at him like he's the most interesting person in the world. The caption, "New Beginnings." 147 likes. Comments full of people congratulating him for moving on from toxicity. I stared at that photo for 20 minutes. Part of me wanted to comment, to defend myself, to tell everyone that he's not the hero they think he is, that he put someone in the hospital, that he's not innocent in any of this. But I didn't, because I know how it would look. I'd be the bitter ex-wife who can't let go, the woman who caused drama and can't accept consequences, the villain trying to rewrite the narrative. So I just closed the app and stared at the motel ceiling and wondered how everything went so wrong. People ask me if I regret it. The answer is complicated. Do I regret saying it? Yes. Obviously, that sentence destroyed my life. But do I regret the feelings behind it, the frustration, the loneliness, the desperation to be seen and heard and valued? No. I was drowning in that marriage. I was invisible. And when I finally spoke up, yes, in the worst possible way, I got blamed for everything that happened after. Derek gets to be the wronged husband who snapped because his wife pushed him too far. I get to be the psycho wife who weaponized her ex. Trevor gets to be the innocent victim caught in the middle. And nobody talks about how Derek chose violence, how he chose to go find Trevor, how he chose to put someone in the hospital. Nobody talks about how Trevor's family immediately blamed me instead of the person who actually threw the punches. Nobody talks about how I've lost everything: my home, my job, my reputation, my relationships, while Derek gets sympathy and a new girlfriend and people calling him strong for moving on. Is that fair? Is any of this fair? Or are we all just playing out our worst impulses and calling it justified? I'm sitting on the bed in this motel room right now, writing this all out because I need someone, anyone, to understand my side. Yes, I said something terrible. Yes, I brought Trevor into a fight where he didn't belong. Yes, I hurt Derek. But I didn't send him to Trevor's apartment. I didn't tell him to get violent. I didn't put anyone in the hospital. I said words. He took action. And somehow I'm the only one paying the price. So tell me, am I the villain? Or am I the victim of my own stupid mouth and someone else's violent choices? Because I genuinely don't know anymore. All I know is I'm alone, I'm broke, I'm professionally destroyed, and I'm sitting in a motel room that smells like mildew, watching my entire life exist in the past tense. And the worst part? The very worst part? I still miss being married, not to Derek specifically, but to the idea of having someone, of having a home, of having a life that wasn't this. I miss feeling like I mattered to someone, even if that someone was making me feel invisible. Because being invisible is still better than being completely alone.